Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Begakar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. I want to go ahead and speak about prayer mats, prayer rugs, and prostrating on the natural surface of the earth. What one is the Sunnah of the Prophet? Which one did the Prophet's family, peace and blessings be upon them, and companions go ahead and pray? How did they pray? And what surface did they pray on? Did they pray on a rug, or did they pray on the natural surface of earth? The reason this is very, very important is I am Shia Muslim. I've been getting a lot of flack, a lot of hate. I've been called a kafir multiple times. I've been told that I'm Ahl al-Bid'ah for going ahead and praying on something that is called a turba. This turba is a natural surface of earth. It is made out of clay. This comes directly from Karbala. It does not need to come from Karbala, which is the land where Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the grandson of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was martyred. It does not need to come from there. It can come from anywhere in the world, Miami, Japan, your hometown, wherever the case may be. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if it's clay. It doesn't matter if it's dirt. It doesn't matter if it's sand. It does not matter if it's a piece of paper, if it's wood, if it's palm. It just needs to be a natural surface of earth. And this is very, very important when going ahead and prostrating in prayer, okay? Now, I want to go ahead and jump into the Sunnah of the Prophet. Obviously, I'm not going to use Shia sources because it's all fabricated and it's all garbage according to the Sunni Muslims. So I'm going to use Sunni sources and go through this with you guys. And just go ahead and see how the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to pray. If he used to pray on a prayer rug or if he used to pray on cloth, and go ahead and question this. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. And let's start with Sahih al-Bukhari 836, where it says, I saw Allah's apostle prostrating in mud and water and saw the mark of mud on his forehead. So Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was prostrating in mud and water. Obviously, it was raining or something of this nature. And he was prostrating in mud and water, and there was marks on his forehead from doing so. Now, why didn't the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, lay out a rug or something of this nature? Would you pray on water or mud today as a Sunni Muslim? I'm not quite sure, but this is the Sunnah, right? Continuing on, Sahih al-Bukhari 669, a cloud came and it rained and the roof started leaking, and in those days the roof used to be branches of date palms, okay? So the roof of the masjid of the mosque used to be made out of date palms, the palms of a palm tree, correct? Was pronounced, and I saw Allah's apostle prostrating in water and mud, and even saw the mud mark on his forehead. So, okay, another confirmation that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and even the grounding of the masjid, of the mosque back then, was not made out of any type of stone, was not made of anything, but left to be dirt, the natural surface of the earth. And when it rained, that natural surface or the floor of the masjid used to get and turn into mud. It used to be wet and muddy, okay? Continuing on, we see here narrated by Abu Salama. He basically said, I saw myself prostrating in mud and water. So he's talking about himself prostrating in mud and water. And they ask him basically why he was doing this. And he says, then the prayer was established and I saw Allah's apostle prostrating in mud and water, and I saw the traces of mud on his forehead. So confirming the previous two hadith beforehand. And this is from Sahih al-Bukhari 2016. So we know that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, very, very clearly in Sahih al-Bukhari here, narrated multiple times by multiple different people, went ahead and said that they saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, prostrating in the mosque on the natural surface of the earth, on mud and water, and it even left a mark on his forehead. How many Sunni Muslims today go ahead and prostrate and they have a mark on their forehead after they prostrate? Unless their prayer rug is very dirty or they haven't vacuumed in a long time or they drop something on it, I don't think that many people prostrate on the natural surface of the earth, right? Continuing on. Now, I do know that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to take something called the Khumra with him, if that's how you pronounce it properly. A Khumra is a mat that the Prophet used to take, that he used to use for just his hands and his head. And I believe he used to do this when he was on journey and journey only. Like when the sand was very, very hot, he used to prostrate on this mat so he did not burn his head on the ground, okay? But this Khumra is made out of palm fibers, so it is still made out of a natural surface of the earth. Like I said before, it can be made out of paper, wood, made out of clay or dirt, whatever the case may be. But let's go ahead and read these hadith here. Sahih al-Bukhari 381, Allah's Apostle used to pray on a khurma, which is a mat, like I just said before. Sahih al-Bukhari 379, Allah's Apostle was praying while I was in my menses, standing beside him, and sometimes his clothes would touch mine during his prostration. He prayed on a khurma, a small mat significant just for the face and the hands while prostrating during prayers. If you guys, again, do not believe me, a khurma is made out of palm fibers. It is not something that is cloth. It is not something that is made out of like rug or is a prayer mat in the sense that we kind of use today. It is made out of the natural surface. It is made out of a wood. It is made out of palm fibers. It is a stitched palm fiber mat that was used just for his hands and just for his head. It is not a full body mat. It is not something he stood on with his feet and he put his knees on and he put anything else on. Just his forehead and his hands when he used to go ahead down and prostrate, and pretty much only in travel if we go ahead and get deeper into this. Okay, moving on. Sahih al-Bukhari 438 here. Allah made me victorious, but I have been given the 5 things which are not given to any amongst the prophets before me. These are: Allah made me victorious by awe, by his frightening me by enemies, for the distance of one's month's journey. The earth has been made for me and my followers a place of praying and a thing to perform tayammum. Okay? Therefore, my followers can pray wherever the time of prayer is due. So what does this exactly mean right here? This means, if we go ahead and look up the word tayammum. Tayammum is the Islamic act of dry ritual purification using purified sand or stone or mud, which may be performed in place of the ritual of washing with no clean water if it's not readily available. So this is very, very important. It is a form of wudu, but without water. It is a form of wudu that is using dry mud, sand, or a natural surface of the earth. This is why we prostrate on the natural surface of the earth. It is a purification process. Another thing to go ahead and just take into consideration by modern sciences is something called grounding. Okay, grounding, also known as earthing, refers to various practices connected to the human body and the earth's natural electric charge. Here are some key aspects. Physical grounding. This involves standing barefoot on the ground and using grounded products, which may help absorb electrons and combat free radicals. Mindful techniques. Grounding can also refer to mindfulness practices helping individuals manage anxiety, PTSD, negative emotions, and refocusing their thoughts. Health benefits. Claims associated with grounding include pain reduction, improved immunity, and reduced inflammation. Overall, grounding encompasses both physical and psychological techniques aimed at enhancing well-being. So grounding is when you actually put your physical body, you take your socks off and you stand on the ground, or you prostrate and put your head to the ground. The actual earth surface, the earth actually sucks a lot of these toxins out of your body. It actually is beneficial for your mental and your physical health, and this is a scientific fact. So it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that when we go ahead and see the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, when we see his family, when we see his companions going ahead and praying or prostrating, they're doing this on the natural surface of the earth. They're not doing it on prayer rugs. They're not doing this on carpets, these grand carpets that are in our masjids and mosques today. They're praying on the natural surface of earth. So this is why the Shia Muslims use a turba. Like I said before, it does not have to be this piece of clay from Karbala. It could be from anywhere on the earth. It could be this little piece of paper towel, because this is made out of wood. This is made out of tree. It's a natural surface of the earth. It can be made out of sand. It can be made out of anything. Just prostrating on a natural surface is very, very important when it comes to this. Continuing on here, the same exact type of hadith here, Sahih al-Bukhari 335. I've been given 5 things which are not given to anyone else before me. Allah made me victorious by awe, by his frightening my enemies, and for distance of 1 month's journey. The earth has been made for me and my followers as a place for praying and a thing to perform tayammum. Therefore, any one of my followers can pray whatever the time of prayer is due. Okay? So this is very, very important. It is stated multiple different times, and I'm going to go ahead and go over one more hadith here, and then I want to go ahead and ask chat GBT a question to go ahead and just make sure of something. I'm going to use it as a search engine in this aspect. But let's go ahead and read this. Sahih Muslim 620. We used to say the non-prayer with the Messenger of Allah in the intense heat. But when someone amongst us found it hard to place his forehead on the ground, he spread his cloth and prostrated on it. Okay, so he would basically spread his cloth, his clothing, so that if the ground was very, very, very hot, it did not burn him. This was in a very, very specific moment. This was only when the ground was scorching or very, very hot. Did the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, utilize any type of cloth or any type of help to go ahead and do this? Same thing when it came down to this mat before, the khurma that we talked about before. He used to use it on his travels or on his journeys. And this is very, very important to note. When we see the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, using a mat or going ahead and using a cloth in any type of way, it's only when the ground is very, very hot or scorching, or he's on a travel, and it's only where he goes ahead and places his head. Okay, it's not the whole entire mat, it's not the whole entire ground. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, tells us very specifically that the ground, the earth's surface, is tahir for us. The whole entire earth's surface is a plain. It is a plain field to go ahead and pray at any time of day. And this is very, very important. And I want my Sunni brothers and sisters to really understand this. I want them to really understand that our prayer mats that we use today are an innovation. Just because they are not a bad innovation that is haram in any way, like, we don't believe that prayer mats or prayer rugs are haram, but they're definitely an innovation. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, didn't walk around with a prayer rug. It just didn't happen. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, didn't walk around with this turba in specific. He prayed on the natural surface of earth. But in today's times, things have changed. When I'm inside my house, I don't have the natural surface of earth right here. So I use a turba to pray on the natural surface of earth. The prayer rug itself, this is a way to keep the surface underneath us tahir at all times, okay? And this is very, very important. Now, are these things an innovation in the sense of what they are? Yes, they're both innovations in the sense of what they are. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, like I said before, never prayed on a rug. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, never walked around with a specific turba. Did he walk around with a khumra, which is basically a turba, which is a natural surface of earth that he used to prostrate on? Yes. Did he prostrate on mud and water? Yes. So this is very important to understand. This is why we do this. We don't do this because it's some bid'ah or we pray towards a rock or anything of this nature. We do this because it's the natural surface of earth. This is the tahir grounding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for us. We're created from clay and mud and water. These are the things that make us purified. These are the things that make us tahir. When we go ahead and do wudu, we do it with water to purify ourselves. When water is not available, we do tayammum. Tayammum is the cleaning of ourselves with dry stone, mud, sand. You know what I'm saying? To purify ourselves. This is very important because that is the nature that we were created with. This is what purifies us. Praying on the natural surface of earth is what links us with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his creation. This is very, very important. Praying on a prayer rug is something that we have created, right? This is something that we have manufactured. So it's very important that when we pray on a prayer rug as Shia Muslims, we have some type of natural surface of earth, if that is clay or sand or a piece of paper or a piece of wood from outside. It doesn't matter the case. Just a natural surface of earth to go ahead and lay these things out. Now, I have a question for ChatGPT before we go ahead and end this video. I just want to know, does the Prophet permit praying on a carpet or rug on a daily basis or in general, or did he pray on the earth's natural surfaces? Did he teach to pray on a rug for cleanliness or to be tahir? So let's go ahead and ask this question. Okay, so I went ahead and answered, does the Prophet permit praying on a carpet or a rug on a daily basis or in general? Or did he pray on the earth, natural surfaces? Did he teach to pray on a rug for cleanliness or to be tahir? This is a meaningful question, especially for those seeking to align closely with the Prophet Muhammad's actions, sunnah, and teachings. Yes, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, permitted praying on rugs and carpets, but he primarily prayed on the natural surfaces. Bare ground, sand, gravel, even wet soil, not out of rejection of rugs, but because of simplicity and context. There's no textual evidence that he explicitly instructed people to use rugs or carpets regularly for prayer out of religious requirement, but cleanliness, tahirin, was a key concern, and that was the main justification for using the clean mat and rug today. What surfaces does the Prophet pray on? Bare earth, wet soil, mats, like a khumra. But the mat, what does she say right here, is made of palm leaves, just big enough for the face during sujood prostration. His default was earth, but he did not object to praying on something clean, especially when he needed heat, impurity, and etc. So if the ground is impure, or the ground is too hot to prostrate on, then yes, cloth or something like this would be an exception. But outside of this, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, never prayed on any type of cloth, never prayed on anything unless he physically had to because it was impure or the ground was too hot, etc. Did not command praying on rugs for cleanliness. The whole earth has been made a place for prostration. Masjid means purification for me. Did early Muslim play on rugs? In the early Islam, prayer rugs were not commonly used. The conceptual of prayer rug we know is developed in later Islamic civilization, particularly in Persian and Ottoman words. They were. So they're a later innovation that came into the religion that went ahead and did this. But I'm kind of confused by this question, and this is why I went ahead and asked further here after reading this. I read it first so I can go ahead and describe this to you. So what is the better approach today? Opinionated view, permissible, even encouraged to use a rug in modern cities. The floors are unclean, impure, unfit for prayer. The idea of Sunnah is flexibility. If the ground is clean, the virtue of praying directly on it as a prophet did. This includes soil, grass, stone. No sin or bid'ah, innovation in praying on a rug unless someone believes in its religious requirement, which would be an unwarranted innovation. Okay. Completely makes sense to me. This answer makes sense, but it's not something that I've seen or we see in the Sunnah that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, basically permits. Even though it says permitted to pray on a rug, encouraged in surface unclean and uncertainty, not required by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Sunnah includes praying on natural surfaces of clean. Avoid believing the rug has special bakara blessings unless it is simply for cleanliness. I went ahead and asked this though. You never quoted or showed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, praying on a rug or permitting it here. Everything you showed, including the mat, is made of natural earth. You're absolutely right. It's a sharp observation. What you pointed out gets to the core of the issue. Even when seeing the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, praying on a mat, it was not a synthetic or woven carpet, but rather a natural material, often a palm leaf mat, like the Khumra, or which you have rightly said, it is still a product of the earth. Okay? So she goes on and she continues to talk about what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, prayed on. As we can see, palm leaves, the natural surface of the earth, mud and water, animal hide, and so forth. So natural surfaces of the earth. No hadith permits encourages praying on rugs. No explicit instruction from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to pray on a rug. No report of him ever recommending rugs for tahira or ritual purity. And certainly no sense that that's a special rug has an intrinsic merit, right? So where does cleanliness tahara come from? The earth has been made from a place of prostration and means of purification, right? This includes dirt itself for purification. Tayammum, which we talked about earlier, and this is a clearly no assumption that the earth is dirty in its worldview. Later historical development, the Persian, Ottoman, and Mughal cultures introduced the practice of woven prayer rugs, sajada, centuries after the Prophet's time. So this is something that came much after the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and this is not something that is dead forth taught by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to pray on these rugs. Even though Sunni and Shia both do it, the Shia make sure that they do have a natural surface of earth when they're praying on this rug, to make sure that they're first off, the surface below them, such as the rug, is tahir, to go ahead and pray on, and that they are prostrating on a natural surface of earth at all times. Okay? So what is the Sunnah approach? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, shows that the entire clean earth is a mosque. The entire earth that is clean is our masjid, to go ahead and pray. His actions demonstrated a strong naturalism in prayer. Barefoot, earth-touching, body in contact with creation is more spiritually authentic. In fact, to imitate his practice and forego artificial barriers like rugs unless cleanliness requires them. Using a rug is not haram, but believing in its necessity is the distortion of the prophetic model. So this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I wanted to go ahead and talk about this in specific because we get a lot of flack for this being Shia Muslims. This is not something that is a bid'ah. This is something that we do to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet in specific. We believe 100% in praying on the natural surface of the earth. The whole entire earth for us is a masjid, excluding these prayer rugs because these are created for tahir reasons in specific. These are created for specific reasonings. If you can pray on the natural surface of earth, it is better for you. This is how the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to pray. This is how his companions behind him used to pray. This is how his family, his Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon him, used to pray on the natural surfaces of earth and the natural surfaces of earth only. Even when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to pull out some type of mat or some type of surface to go ahead and pray on, it was created and it was made of natural surfaces of the earth, like the Khumra, which was made out of palm fibers, correct? I just wanted to go ahead and overlay everything here today. Talk about this because this is a controversial issue that has been brought up many times to me. This is something that people call me kafir for, and this is just ignorance. This is ignorance in our ummah. It's very, very sad to see that we have such a wide approach to information here with the internet, especially. We have so many tools to go ahead and help us learn. We have every single religious book uploaded at our fingertips, and we don't even use them. We don't read. We don't understand anything. You know what people do? They will sit and they will listen to video after video after video from preacher after preacher after preacher. This is where they learn their sunnah. This is where they learn their religion. They don't learn from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran. They don't learn from their Prophet in their sunnah, in their hadiths. They don't learn from this. They don't educate themselves. They don't research themselves. They just listen to videos and videos and videos. They fill themselves with egotistical hate, and they go ahead and make it a my team, your team, my sect is better than your sect, and I'm going to prove it kind of thing. So thank you guys so much for coming in today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And until next time, peace out.